Hello and welcome. I'm going to talk you through how I painted this lovely snowy, it was like all morning winter sunrise landscape. I started off with a block of paper which is £140 around cold pressed paper. It's just in a gummed block and it's quite a small bit. I'd already started dropping in some colour. I used quinacridone gold for this, and I've also used some indethrine blue by Winsor & Newton, some lunar black and some white ink, and I used some pencil crayons as well. I'm coming in with the indethrine blue. The yellow is already still wet. I'm just letting the colour all bleed in together. I put a bit of light wash of the yellow in the sky, and I'm just holding it up to let it all flow downwards. I'm trying to create a sunset effect or a morning sunrise effect, and so I've come in with some more of the quinacridone gold. Here I'm creating the sky and dropping in some of the indethrine blue to make it look like it's a sort of a wintry sky. I'm trying to. Here I'm just dropped in some bleach. I'm trying to create like a sun in the middle. It didn't quite work out, as you see in the end. I ended up sort of painting over the sky, but here I'm just using my finger. I just dropped in a bit of white ink because I wanted that to be really bright in the middle, and it wasn't quite working. Sorry about the shadows of the sun across the paper, but it was a lovely sunny day. I didn't want to pull the curtains. Now I'm trying to blot out the middle. I was having a bit of trouble trying to get the look I wanted. I love what the white ink's doing to the blue I put in the foreground. It's just dropping down and it's creating that lovely cauliflower sort of look and all going granularly. It's really lovely. I love that about watercolour and the unexpected textures you can get. Now I added a bit of lunar black into the yellow and it made a nice green colour for some trees on either side. Then I'm using the same colour just to drag a sort of, I wanted to create a shape like there was looking across fields, so I'm trying to create a field, and I'm just letting the watercolour do what it wants to do. And here I'm just trying to blot out some of the harsh marks that I got. Coming back in with the lunar black and the mix of the blue, I'm creating some like popular trees. I just drew three, some of those long, thin, lovely trees you can get, and it creates a sense of scale to the whole painting. Darkened them up a bit, and then I came in with some salt to create some texture, because you know how much I love using salt. I then left that to all soak in and let the watercolour do what it wanted to do, and left it to dry. Now I'm coming in with a black watercolour pencil. I'm just going over the trees in the foreground, because remember, your watercolour dries a lot lighter than you expect it to, and I just wanted to add some more effect. This is sort of a mixed media whimsical landscape that I'm creating here. You can see the lovely effects the salts have created, and there's some beautiful textures happening. Here I'm coming in with my Durham white sketching pencil. I love this pencil, it draws over the watercolour really nice, and I'm adding some tree trunk shapes and the branches. This was really effective, and this pencil's just really lovely. You should get one. Here I'm using a light mix of green, which was the yellow and the blue that I mixed together, and I'm creating a distant hill kind of effect. I wasn't quite sure what I was like trying to create here, but you know, you just have to keep painting. Then I added a bit more green. So I think this is sap green that I just had in the corner of my palette. I wanted it to be a bit more greenier, but then it started to look a bit springy, and I wasn't sure where I was going, but I carried on regardless. I decided I'd sort of lost that tree in the foreground a bit, so I went over it with a dark mix of the lunar black and the blue. And then there's me going over the trees again, activating the black watercolour pencil. And then I added a bit of highlight, not highlight, it's the shadow, isn't it, of the trees to the field. And that sort of just like started to set it off and give the mood of the painting. Here I'm just messing around really and adding some darker shadows and things and softening up the edges and just being what's the word? Finicky. Now I decided to add a fence. I thought that might sort of add a bit more interest to the painting, which I used my watercolour pencil for that. Then I decided it needed some more trees, so I added some darker trees and some smaller trees in the distance just to give a bit more of the perspective of the painting and the scale. And some little clumps of trees up on the hills in the distance. I then dried it with my dryer. I still wasn't quite happy with my sun, so I'm making a round, like scribbling around with the white Derwent pencil to make like the sun look like it's just like that. I wanted that glowy feel, and I think I started to get it. I then decided to come in with my pencil, the white pencil again, and create some foliage in the foreground. Sorry if you can hear a scratchy noise. My dog's decided to make a bed. I then decided that the distant trees needed a bit of detail in them, so I added some branches to them as well. I get a bit carried away with my white pencil, as you can see. I then added some white highlight to the edges of the trees, and that made them really like stand out. It was just, I don't know, what would you call it? It just made it go bing. And the same to the fence posts as well. It just made them more three-dimensional. I decided that field was too dark and it needed to be snowy, so I scribbled over it with my Derwent pencil. I made sure I kept the angle right for the field, so it didn't look too bizarre. I carried on being a bit I can't say the word now. You know, sort of, I couldn't leave it alone. My pencil kept scribbling here and there. It's like when you start overworking something, it's like, do you know when to stop? No, I don't. I'm just going to carry on till I'm happy with it. Then decided it needed some more foreground foliage, so I added some leaves and things with, I'm just still using the black watercolour pencil, and I think I come in with the blue one as well. I think at this stage I was just like, okay, well, it can't get any worse, so I'm going to carry on doing some more foliage and fiddling around. I still wasn't happy with it. You can tell because I just keep adding bits, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with it? What is wrong with it? And then I decide let me wait for it. When I finished fiddling around with the tree, I decide it's the sky. So the sky, I decided it's not yellowy enough for a sunset or a sunrise or whatever it wants to be. So I decided to come in with a bit more of the gold, and I don't think that really helped much. even rubbing it off with the tissue didn't help, so I decided, well, that's it. I'm coming in with the white ink. I painted over the whole of the sky with the white ink. White sky now, and then a blob of bleach. It's got far too much bleach on this. I'm trying to lift off some of the colour. I'm still trying to make the page underneath white, but the more I scrub into it, the worse it gets. So it didn't really work, but I blotted it out and it managed to look a bit like a sun rising. I'm happy with the sky now, and then I decided just to come in and add a few more details with the white pencil. Still fiddling around, I decided to add a few more little details to the foreground of the foliage, and then I think I decided, right, that's it. It's quite nice. And then, you know, when you don't really like something, then you put it down and you come back and look at it and you think, actually, that's not too bad. Thank you for joining me. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. If you liked my tutorials, please come and join me on my Patreon, where I have so much more for you to learn, and loads of stuff, loads of classes, loads of everything, and it's fun as well, and you can talk to me and we can have a chat or whatever, and I don't know, just come and join me. Bye for now.